Hello, my name is Andrew. I would like to welcome you to my playlist about the Tao Te Ching. In this series, I'm going to be going through the Tao Te Ching from beginning to end. It will not be a long journey, but hopefully it will be enlightening for all of us. I'll be covering one chapter per episode. In each episode, I will read the entire chapter, then go through the individual sections of the chapter, commenting on the content and giving my interpretation of the material. The translation I will be using is a translation by one J.H. MacDonald in 1996. I'm using this translation because it is in the public domain and there should not be any copyright issues using this translation. I do not know anything about Mr. or Miss MacDonald, not even their gender. I do not know if they are a Chinese historian, a religious scholar, or whatever. I do not know how they came to translate this book. I am glad, however, that they chose to put the translation in the public domain. If you would like to download the PDF of the translation, the link is in the comments. Now a little bit about the text. The Tao Te Ching is the foundational work of religious and philosophical Taoism. The text originated sometime before the 4th century BCE, as the oldest portion dates to that period. It is credited as being written by Lao Tzu, though its origins and authorship are still debated. The text itself is organized in 81 chapters or sections. Each chapter is short. Most translations I have seen have a chapter on one page. The translation I will be using has 4 or 5 chapters on each page. Each chapter is made up of sections that could contain a few sentences each. The content of the book does not form a narrative. It does not contain stories or parables. Stories and parables require a knowledge of the culture for which they were created. This is not the case with the Tao Te Ching. It is just ideas and sayings, some of which I'm sure you have heard before, but may not have known the origin. The content is more of a stream of thought, compilation of ideas and concepts for leading a virtuous life. I've seen some translations try to reorganize the text in more coherent sections with chapters related to things like leadership grouped together. This is not that common, however. The book is subject to a lot of interpretation. Some of that interpretation is ingrained in the translation process itself. With ancient languages, the meanings of the words can be interpreted in different ways. Ancient Chinese is no different. It is my understanding that children raised in China can have a difficult time reading the original text because modern Chinese is so different from the ancient Chinese that the text was written in. Much like it is difficult or impossible for most native English speakers to read in the original Old English Beowulf. Languages evolve over time, words change meaning over time, new words are developed. As with any work of philosophy, some interpretation is necessary when reading it. The Tao Te Ching is no different. Some of the ideas and concepts are vague and/or ambiguous. Many feel that this was intentional on the part of the author. A vague concept can apply to more situations than a specific concept. Imprecise language makes the text more applicable. This is, in a way, makes the Tao Te Ching timeless. Now a little bit about me. I am not a religious scholar. I am not a Chinese historian. I have not studied comparative religions to any great degree. I am educated. I hold a master's degree and I'm working on my doctorate, though in a completely different field. So what makes me qualified to share my comments on an ancient Chinese philosophical text? Well, I have a mind that is curious and hungers for wisdom and understanding. My interpretation is no better or worse than anyone else's interpretation. In fact, I invite and encourage the viewer to come to their own conclusions on the content of these videos. My interpretation is shaped by my life experiences and situation in life. As a middle-aged divorcee with children, I have a different life perspective than a 20-something in college or a 30-something single mother. We all have different perspectives on life and its meaning. Likewise with this text. Your experience and place in life will likely frame your interpretation of the content of these videos, and that is great. So why am I, an apparent novice, sharing my thoughts on this text? That is simple. I am not a novice when it comes to the Tao Te Ching. I have been exposed to it, reading it, rereading it, and considering its teachings for about 35 years. Over that period of time, I have changed, of course. My interpretations have changed. My understanding has changed. I am sharing this in the hope that others will view this text as a deeply meaningful book that can help guide people on living a better life. In fact, I hope younger viewers see this series and begin them on a journey in life that consists of continued learning and exploring the world. Revisit the text later and see how the meaning you get from it changes as you grow and change. Does the Tao Te Ching hold all the answers? Of course not. How could any text have all the answers in just 20 some odd pages? The meaning of life and the answers people need are as varied as people themselves. You have to seek your own answers and meaning in life. I just hope this series helps people on their journey. Okay, let's get things started with chapter 1. I will read the entire chapter, then I will address each section in the chapter in order. The Tao that can be described is not the eternal Tao. The name that can be spoken is not the eternal name. The nameless is the boundary of heaven and earth. The named is the mother of creation. Freed from desire, you can see the hidden mystery. By having desire, you can only see what is visibly real. Yet mystery and reality emerge from the same source. This source is called darkness. Darkness born from darkness, the beginning of all understanding. There really is no introduction in the Tao Te Ching. It jumps right into the content, right from the start. Let's look at the first section. The Tao that can be described is not the eternal Tao. The name that can be spoken is not the eternal name. This first section of the first chapter starts you out with what to expect in the book. We got a couple of things going on here in the first section. The first thing happening is sort of a disclaimer. The Tao that can be described is not the eternal Tao. This means that words are going to fall short of describing the true nature of the Tao. This is kind of like the word love. Words cannot truly get to the nature of love. There's nothing like it. It encompasses so many things: feelings, sensations, thoughts, all kinds of stuff. The same is true with the eternal Tao. Words can only scratch the surface of its true nature. The second sentence takes things a step further by saying that names are not the eternal names. A name for a person, place, object, whatever, are not the eternal names of those things. To call me by my name is not who I really am. A rock is not just a piece of granite, for example. There are so many things that go into being. A person has feelings, memories, attitudes, and so forth. The rock has colors, patterns, textures, weight, and a plethora of other characteristics that make each rock unique. All these things cannot be expressed in simple words. Words, in fact, take away from what things are. Think of your mother, if you're lucky to have enough to have one. What are all the memories, feelings, sensations, and other experiences that you have of her? To call her just your mother seems a bit of an insult to who and what she really is. People are so much more than their names. Try this example. Find something simple but interesting to look at. I used a blade of grass when I learned to do this, but anything will do fine. Now look at the item and try to forget the words used to describe it. Forget the green of the blade of grass. Experience its color. Forget the shape of the blade. Experience its shape. Forget the label you give its smell. Just experience the smell. In short, experience what it is you're looking at. Do not try to put labels on it to describe it. Just experience its being. Become one with the item. Have it become part of you as the blade of grass became part of me that day. This concept of words coming short will be revisited later in the book. On to the second section. The nameless is the boundary of heaven and earth. The named is the mother of creation. Now, I see this section as dealing with creativity and creation. The nameless being that which has yet to be created. Not even a thought. That would be named. All things are possible between heaven and earth. Infinite potential lies there. All that has yet to be created lies in this boundary. Whether something that is created lies in the heavenly realm or the earthly realm, it starts at the boundary of the two. It then moves into one of the two realms when it is brought into creation. Once something has been named, it has been created. Not that everything that has been created has a name per se. A thought may not have a name, but it has a description, which is many names. It is brought into creation by giving it a name or names. This is the first step in creation. First, it is a thought. A thought is real. It may not have a physical form, but it is real to the person that has the thought. Then, through actions, it becomes a reality. This is the mother of creation. Now the third section. Freed from desire, you can see the hidden mystery. By having desire, you can only see what is visibly real. This section kind of puts into words what I was talking about in the first section. When you have desires of any kind, you can only see what is visibly real. This limits your understanding of what you are looking at. To return to the example of the blade of grass, having a desire to see it, you only see it. You see its shape, its color, its texture, that sort of thing. When you are freed from your desires, you can experience the world. It becomes part of you and you begin to understand. Everything has a great mystery about them. For most people, that mystery remains hidden. Desires get in the way of experiencing the mysteries. Desires are something you want, whether it is a desire for an object, person, or even understanding. That is selfish. You want something for yourself. You will not see the mystery of whatever you desire. Yourself gets in the way. By freeing yourself of desires, that selfishness drops away. This allows the understanding to come to you. The self is not in the way. You do not see whatever that is desired as being something that can benefit you. That is only part of what something is. What can benefit you is only part of what something is. It is so much more. This selfish attitude that people have limits people on how they can see the world. They only see things, people, and situation as being something that can either benefit them or not. They do not see beyond this. By being selfless and desireless, you can see and experience the world and begin to understand the world. become one with the world. As for the fourth section, let's see where that takes us. Yet mystery and reality emerge from the same source. This source is called darkness. This section lets us know that all things, whether they are a mystery or a reality, start from the same place. The place is darkness. It can also be called the void, nothingness, emptiness. Things start from nothing. They first become thoughts, then they become reality. The wheel is a wonderful example. First it was a thought, then through action, it became a reality. It was born of the darkness, the void, emptiness. Then it became a reality. The mysteries are born from the darkness as well. When something is created, there are more things about the thing than words can describe. You might say you get more than you bargained for. That first wheel, probably made of stone or wood, had many characteristics that you would be hard-pressed to describe with words. Even if you knew the characteristics and states of every atom in the wheel, it would still not completely encompass the nature of that wheel. There is the visible reality of things, and then there's the mystery of those things. The fifth section of the chapter finishes things off. Darkness born from darkness, the beginning of all understanding. I would say that this lets us know that the void, the darkness, is perpetual. It creates itself. It is limitless. It is never ending. The absence of anything, the infinite source of creation, is endless. It is born from itself. Before there is creation, there is nothingness, the darkness, the void. This is the beginning of the understanding because the darkness is from where all things spring forth. It is hard to understand this at times because it is hard to understand nothingness. The very act of thinking is an act of creation, so the void is even the absence of thought as well. The mere act of thinking of the void is an act of creation. There is no void when there is thought. Freeing yourself of desire and self, as I discussed in section 3, is the only way you can really experience the void. Some people use this as a goal of meditation, to free oneself of desires and self and be one with the void for a time. It brings infinite possibilities to oneself, because the void is infinite possibilities. And to open yourself to those possibilities opens you up to the infinite. All things become possible. Well, that was the sound first chapter of the Tao Te Ching. I think it is a good harbinger of what is to come in the rest of the text. It touched on some important topics that will be revisited later in the text. I think this also was a good example of the writing style that the original author and the translator used in the translation. I would like to finish by pointing out that these interpretations are my own. I come to these interpretations because of my life experiences and thoughts. You may have different interpretations of the text. That is wonderful. The author Oscar Wilde once said, "Most people are other people. Their thoughts are someone else's opinion. Their lives a mimicry. Their passions a quotation." Don't be most people. Form your own thoughts on the passages in these videos. Mine may guide you. You may think they are complete rubbish. That is fine as well. These thoughts are a starting point. They may be the product of years of experience, but they are the starting point for the rest of my life. Because every moment is a new beginning. I'd like you to share your thoughts in the comments for this video if you would like.